And welcome back as we are covering the resentencing of Scott Peterson, where the judge ruling life in prison, no parole. That was the decision inside the courtroom today. We have one of just only 3 reporters that were inside the courtroom at that time to paint us a picture of what happened. Marianne Favro, she was there. She is going to be joining us momentarily about what happened. What was that atmosphere like inside the courtroom? But certainly this has been a case that a lot of people have been talking about for nearly 20 years now. But today, that judge ruling life in prison, no parole.
Yeah, the hearing took about 1 hour. As Marcus said, Marianne was one of the 3 journalists allowed inside the courtroom. She joins us live with what happened. A very emotional morning, Marianne.
It certainly was an emotional morning when Scott Peterson walked into the courtroom. He was handcuffed. He was wearing an orange jumpsuit, and he had a chain around his waist. He held his head high. He walked very slowly, and he was very stoic for most of the proceeding. One thing that was interesting is when the victims' families, Laci Peterson's mother, her sister, and her brother all spoke, he looked them directly in the eye the entire time, even though they had some very choice words for Mr. Peterson. He never lifted eye contact with them. Now, Scott Peterson did not speak in court today at all. Instead, his attorney spoke on his behalf, but he basically addressed some of the concerns they had about the previous case and some of the reasons why they do want to pursue a new trial in this case. So he addressed that, but we did not hear directly from Scott Peterson at this time.
Marianne, when they gave their victim impact statements, Sharon Rocha and Laci Peterson's siblings, I found it very emotional. It was very painful to hear them recount the last 17, 18 years without their loved ones, almost 19 years. Was there a dry eye in the courtroom?
Well, I was in the front row looking forward. I did notice that Sharon Rocha later in the proceeding did cry, but she stood tall and she was very direct, looking directly at Scott Peterson during the entire time. Later is when I saw her shed a couple tears and need to have a tissue. But as far as the people behind me, I was mostly focused on what was happening in the court proceedings, but it was very emotional. And clearly, Laci's sister gave incredible testimony about how much being without Laci has had an impact on her life, because she now has children, and her children are never going to get to know Connor, and she addressed that, and so did Laci's brother. The fact that more than 17 years, every day, this family is dealing with an unbelievable loss of Laci Peterson and also her potential. The fact that her mom said she would have been an incredible mom and that she didn't get to see her grandson, never got to meet her grandson, but also that her grandson was not able to interact with other family members and never get to truly know their family. So that was very compelling and certainly an emotional moment hearing from Laci's family.
And what about Scott Peterson? What was his emotion, his gestures, his look on his face when he heard life in prison, no parole?
He was very stoic. He was wearing a white mask throughout the court proceedings, and what I noticed with him is that he did a lot of really heavy breathing and a lot of swallowing during the entire time, and that's what happened. I saw him swallow a gulp a couple times when he learned the sentencing. Of course, the sentence was no surprise. It was the only option for the judge to give him life in prison without the possibility of parole. I did see him yawn once when his attorney was speaking, but overall, the thing that surprised me the most was that he looked directly at Laci's family. When the 3 members of her family spoke, he never lifted eye contact with them.